One thing that I've emphasized is the importance of getting children into the presence of the Lord. And maybe you've never encountered the Lord, or maybe you're just not familiar with how to walk kids in and have them experience the presence of the Lord. So I want to give you a few ideas, suggestions, things to try so that this can be an impactful moment of the service and not a dreaded 20 minutes of service. So first of all, I've mentioned our prayer room, which is a separate room. None of the kids have class in there. It is a room designated for prayer and encountering the Lord. And there is a curtain so that if different classrooms are coming in, we can be separate, kind of out of sight, out of mind. Okay, big kids not distracting little kids and vice versa. We can utilize the classroom together. But for one, the more that we make it a consistent and routine part of the day is going to make the biggest impact. When kids expect it to happen, they're going to be prepared for it and they're going to know what you're looking for. Now, is it really hard to keep a whole bunch of kids quiet for 20 minutes? Yes. However, again, the more that we practice, the better it's going to go. So as I mentioned in an earlier video, if you have an intentional question in mind for the kids to ponder or ask the Lord, that's going to be one of your key things. So don't just bring the kids into the prayer room and say, oh, try to hear from God. Okay, right? That'd be like, I don't know, sitting down to dinner and hoping that your spouse asks you a question or talks to you. Like if you're not going to ask them something, maybe they're distracted and they're on their phone, right? Conversation starts with somebody saying something, somebody having a question. And of course, the Lord is always wanting to talk to us, and oftentimes we just have to make time for him. We have to train our ears and our hearts to listen to him, for our spirits to connect with his spirit. So be prepared with a question for the kids to ask the Lord. Having a couple crayons, not a whole box of crayons, I've learned this. 2 to 3 max. Okay, they get a little offended if you only give them one because they got to have a little bit of color variation. But giving them 2 to 3 crayons, so you're not picking up a whole box of crayons because, of course, they're going to empty the entire contents of the box out onto the floor. And even if they just draw a picture, they might be drawing a picture of something that you talked about in the lesson. They might be drawing a completely separate picture. But I also encourage you to, number one, share stories of the way that the Lord speaks to you. Even if you do that at the beginning of the prayer time, just say, hey, you know what? One time I was driving and I just felt like, ooh, I should turn left instead of right, or I should go the long way versus taking the highway when I was driving. Share a story of the way that the Lord speaks to you. That's going to inspire and encourage them that they too can hear from the Lord. We also have The Adventures of Ivy and God book by Becky Fisher, and that is full of short stories of a little girl hearing from the Lord. Read a section out of that book. Encourage them that they can hear from the Lord, that it is absolutely possible. Okay? And then at the end of prayer time, ask the kids if anyone did hear from the Lord that they want to share. One time, I had somebody wanted to share something, and it actually completely tied into what the lesson was about, and they had no idea that they even heard from the Lord, and they just thought they were drawing a picture of something old and something new, which was exactly what we had talked about in the lesson. And so we got to re-tie it in. I got to encourage them that they did hear from the Lord. And the more that we can do this, the more that we can make it normal for them to hear the Lord, right? Imagine your life if at a young age, when you started, getting those yucky feelings about doing some things that you did, what if you really knew what it was like to hear the voice of the Lord? That is my heart, that these kids would know the heart and the voice of the Lord so that they're confident in what they're hearing. So for me especially, and hopefully for you, you can think of things in your life, right, that you regret doing, that you wish you would have been able to understand the voice of the Lord to guide you through those things. So Let's give that to the kids. Let's present Jesus to them, the answer to all of their problems, right? All of their situations can be solved by Jesus. He is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through him. So let's focus on Jesus. Let's focus on getting the kids into the presence of the Lord. Thanks for going on the journey.